We are live from Studio 16. I am Connor Bowen. Here is your primary anchor, Connor Hayden, and your secondary anchor, James Honings. Let's get right into the show. It's going to be amazing.
Good morning, ALJ. Welcome to this week's edition of Crusader Country, where we catch up with activities going on in and around ALJ. I'm Connor Hayden with my partner,
James Honings. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get on with the show.
Today is November 18th, 2019. Last week marked the first day of public hearings in the impeachment inquiry of President Donald Trump, brought a potential bombshell about an apparent second follow-up phone call. Here are some of the highlights from day one of the impeachment hearings. Let's roll the clip.
Committee will come to order.
The first day of public impeachment hearings, beginning with a startling revelation for House investigators. Top diplomat to Ukraine, Bill Taylor, describing a phone call between President Trump and the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, overheard by his aide 1 day after Trump's July 25th phone call with the Ukrainian president.
Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for.
Trump denying that call.
I know nothing about that. First time I've heard it.
But House Democrats say Taylor's latest information helps make their case that Trump abused his oath of office even stronger.
But what this call indicates, as other testimony has likewise indicated, is that the instructions are coming from the president on down.
Taylor and Deputy Assistant Secretary of State George Kent describing what they encountered as the Trump administration used military aid and a meeting at the White House as leverage for Ukraine to begin investigations for the president's political gain.
To withhold that assistance for no good reason other than help with the political campaign made no sense. It was illogical. It could not be explained. It was crazy.
Kent expressing his concerns about Trump's personal attorney Rudy Giuliani's involvement in U.S. relations with Ukraine, including helping lead a smear campaign against then U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch.
I became alarmed as those efforts bore fruit. They led to the ouster of Ambassador Yovanovitch and hampered U.S. efforts to establish rapport with the new Zelensky administration in Ukraine.
House Democrats asking about Giuliani's intent.
What interest do you believe he was promoting, Mr. Kent?
I believe he was looking to dig up political dirt against a potential rival in the next election cycle.
Ambassador Taylor, what interest do you believe he was promoting?
I agree with Mr. Kent.
Meanwhile, Republicans defending Trump, arguing the two witnesses lack firsthand knowledge and casting the hearing as a partisan show.
But the main performance, the Russia hoax, has ended, and you've been cast in the low-rent Ukrainian sequel.
I've seen church prayer chains that are easier to understand than this. No pressure, no demands, no threats, no blackmail, nothing corrupt.
But House Democrats standing firm.
Is this what we want a president to do, to leverage their power? I think for most Americans that's sinking in.
Wow. I'm speechless.
As am I.
That's bribery. That's against the law. You can't do that as a president.
And the impeachment hearings, they're going to continue this week,
yeah,
as far as I know.
We'll keep you guys updated when we get more about this story.
It's unfortunate that this happens.
All right, let's keep going.
On Monday, our school honored all those who served in the armed forces with a ceremony in front of LJ. Speakers included members of our local VFW and Mayor Bonacorso. Let's take a look. You went a little too fast.
Originally created in recognition of the end of World War I, the first Veterans Day was observed on November 11, 1921 at Arlington National Cemetery, and was marked the burial of the unknown soldier from World War I. More than 100 years later, we still gather on Veterans Day to reflect on those who have fought to preserve the freedoms of every American enjoys. Now, more than ever, it's important that we take time to thank the men and women who selflessly sacrificed to serve in our armed forces.
Veterans Day is observed every November 11th, and it recognizes all that who have served in the armed forces. But it also is an appropriate time to show your appreciation to veterans, friends, and family. You can also recognize our veterans by flying the American flag outside of your home. visiting or volunteering at a veteran facility, or attending a local event, or just simply thanking veterans and their families for their service. You do not have to wait until a national holiday to show your gratitude to our service members. Any day is a good day to support our veterans, either through a charity or just giving a heartfelt thank you to those who have served.
What is Veterans Day? It's a day of pride. It's a day of honor. It's the men and women who serve this country with so much loyalty. To our students who are out there today, we're glad to see you out here honoring our veterans. Don't look at this as a free period out of the building on a beautiful November day. Look at this time as a piece of education to what these great people have done for our country. The freedom we have, how we dress, how we talk, where we go and what we do is because of our veterans in this great nation we have. Today's a day that you have to thank our veterans. When you go home tonight, your grandparents, your mom, your dad, your uncle, a neighbor, pick up the phone and say thank you. Thank you for serving our country. Thank you for giving us the freedom that we live with.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us always treat our 22 million veterans as the saviors of our country that they are, even when the guns are no longer shooting. And a post note was just passed into law. The American Legion membership is open to all who served in the armed forces with no constraints on your time of service. Thank you for being here.
There is a common bond that exists between the men and women who have shared the military experience. There exists a shared sense of duty and a common belief in a cause higher than self. Our nation's veterans chose to serve, and by doing so, assumed all the risks associated with maintaining freedom.
So thank you to all who served for us in the past. It doesn't have to be Veterans Day to say thank you to a veteran. So thank you guys. Thank you all.
Your hard work is very much appreciated. Thank you for risking your lives to make sure that we have a home, we have a life, and we have all the rights that we do now.
So, saving our country.
Thank you.
And special shout out to Scar for shooting that, and well done, James, for editing that.
Thank you. Hold your applause to the end.
Okay, let's keep going. CNN's Don Lemon holds a revealing interview with legendary actress Jane Fonda. Fonda speaks out about her recent arrest while participating in climate crisis demonstrations. She says the climate crisis is a ticking time bomb, and she talks about why she's engaging in civil disobedience at this stage in her life.
You've seen this division. You've seen division before. Our country's really divided now, and I would imagine there was a big division during
the Vietnam War.
During the Vietnam
Absolutely.
War,
but there's a big difference.
Have you seen? So tell me.
Well, there's a ticking time bomb, kind of looming over everything that we didn't have, or we didn't realize that we had it during the Vietnam War, which is the climate crisis. Humankind has never been in a situation like this, where we face the kind of dangers that could kill hundreds of millions of people, that could force mass migrations, that could create health pandemics, that would, I mean, just look at the fires and the floods and the sea risings and all the things that are happening right now. And imagine they're happening one right after the other, and we don't have time to catch up. What happens to the economy? What happens to our national security, right? So it's never been that way before, ever.
Wow, we are really running out of time on this climate thing.
I know, right? I think it's just the fact that nobody pays attention to it. Like
everyone's so focused on their phones. We're losing valuable property down in the shore areas, the coastal areas,
and maybe
because of the rising tide.
Maybe in a couple of years, New Jersey might not even be a state.
Yeah, it might be the Bikini Bottom, honestly. SpongeBob might take a house.
Maybe Mr. Krabs will spend all his money on trying to make it.
Nah, he's cheap. He won't spend money.
You right. Coming up, we have a tale of a puppy with two tails, one on each end. The internet is going bananas over a rescue puppy in Missouri with a very unique feature right in between its eyes. Let's take a look at this.
A 10-week-old rescue puppy with a tail growing out of its forehead is taking the internet by storm. And why not? I mean, he's half puppy, half unicorn. A puppinicorn! The little guy was rescued from the cold in Missouri and brought to Mac's Mission, an animal rescue, where he was named Narwhal. Where have I heard that name before?
Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.
Oh, yeah. Well, he may not be a mythical Arctic legend, but he is gaining legendary status on the interwebs, and the rescue has already been flooded with adoption applications. As for his unique accessory, doctors really can't explain it, but say the tail causes Narwhal no pain, therefore, there's no reason to remove it. Sounds like they don't know whether to make heads or tails of it. And as if you could stand any more cuteness, in honor of World Kindness Day, newborns at a Pittsburgh hospital were dressed up to look like none other than Mr. Rogers. Nurses at West Penn Hospital wrapped the infants in tiny cardigans and ties, Fred Rogers' signature outfit. A Pittsburgh native, Rogers taught generations of viewers about kindness on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Parents were invited to the nursery window to fawn over and photograph the fashion show, adding to already sterling memories of a very beautiful day in their neighborhood. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Those dogs are absolutely adorable.
You know, he is adorable. A little tail in the front. Oh, it's adorable. But those babies are pretty cute too.
Very.
Mr. Rogers, that's I never watched him, but I've heard about him. He's a really nice guy. He was. And yeah.
I've seen ads all over YouTube about him. I don't know. But that dog was still cute.
Yeah, that dog was really cute. Well, that's it for this week's episode, or show. You can catch us anytime on our YouTube channel. Simply search for ALJ Today.
Signing off from Studio 16. Until next time, we hope all your news is good news. And as always, go Crusaders.
Drinks by Cranberry.